to another episode of the I Am Undeniable podcast. I'm your host, Alex Sundar, and I'm here to drop some major fucking bombs and perspective on how to become unbreakable in your mind, body, and soul. And in today's episode, I'm actually quite excited because we got one hell of a guest speaker in the house. He's my soul brother. He has a lot of value added to the table, and I'm excited to take you guys through his story, his soul purpose, and the ideology behind how you can adapt your own human design in your life. Let me introduce my boy, Diederik. What's going on, man? How's your day going?
It's been a fantastic day, man. I've been looking forward to hopping on the call with you and going deep and talking about all the things that matter in this journey of life. And yeah, it's been a great day. I'm healing a little bit from a cold, so if people hear a little bit of a sniffling going on or a heavier voice, then that's what that is. But my soul's on fire, man. I'm loving life right now. Blessed to be here.
Well, I'm super excited. Well, first off, thank you for taking time out of your day to give back, right? And the message in today's podcast is all about ascension. It's all about you discovering your own soul's purpose. And for a lot of my audience members, you might be being like, what the hell do you mean by ascension and your soul purpose? All right. Trust me, I totally get it. The first time I heard that, I was like, well, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, I just don't understand. But I really think my intention for this call is if you just have a listening ear, you tune into Diederik's story, what we're going to be talking about, you might be surprised about what you might discover for yourself by the end of this episode. So, Diederik, I could do an introduction for you, but I don't think I would do it justice compared to how you would do it. If you could introduce yourself, tell the audience a little bit about you and what you do, and we'll take it from there. The floor is yours, my man.
Thanks, brother. My name is Diederik Rijkens, originally Dutch, or as I say, born under a Dutch flag, but I come from somewhere else. Currently 37, going through some major changes in my life. One of them has been, and that's what you were talking about, is living your purpose, right? And so what I found as I went down my journey is that I have always wanted to be there to hold the space for someone to transform and be their best self. There are many ways to do that. I tried to do that in the corporate world. It didn't really work for me, not yet. So going down a journey, leaving the corporate world, first going from the United States to the Netherlands and Europe, and then from the Netherlands to Costa Rica, where I spent 3.5 years. And I really dove deep into human design, and now I'm a transformational coach here to help you live your fuck yeah life. And a fuck yeah life is the life that you've always been wanting to live. It's a version of you that already exists, having the career that you want, the relationships that you want, the financial freedom that you want, freedom across the board. And that's what I am here to embody in the most human way that I can, because it's a human journey in the end, right? So it's all about being gentle with ourselves, but every day living intentionally. And one of the things I want to talk about with you today, Alex, is this thing that's been coming to me lately is living your purpose is done by living on purpose. So I really want to talk about what living on purpose means. But to wrap up the introduction, so right now I'm taking my soulmate clients, meaning these are people that I resonate with on the deepest level. And when we come together, we activate each other. Because even though we're here to do the work alone, or on our own rather, we didn't journey alone. We don't journey alone. We came here with a whole tribe of people, and we're here to co-create together. And in the work that we've done, I've always felt that it's like I just know exactly what to say, and you've transformed me through our work just as much as I've transformed you. So that's what I'm here to do. I take my clients on longer term journeys, one-on-one coaching. I'm also creating a group container now. We're starting one very soon called The Mythic, because it is a mythic life that we live. We all have a mythic role to play in business, relationship, community. So helping people to uncover what that is, holding the space, so that you can go inside and find the answers for yourself. So that's what I do.
I love that. I love that. And, to really tie on that. So probably people don't know, Diederik is actually one of my coaches. We then hired him for quite a few coaching sessions and to work with some of my clients on his concept of human design, right? Mm-hmm. And when I first heard about Diederik, it was actually from one of my friends, Manjinder, right? We did this exam online, and we're always on a journey of like personal development, being in what I call flow state, finding your best self, right? And something that I found super trippy at the time, because I didn't quite understand it, was soulmates. Soulmate clients. That's something that really stood out to me when you talked about it. So, because for those who don't know, you'll meet people in your life where you just connect on a deep, deep level, and you'll know what I'm talking about. But for you, Diederik, in your perspective, what is a soulmate client to you, or a soulmate person?
That's a really good question. And I like that you said. I was actually talking to someone yesterday, someone who's going to join me on the 3-month transformational journey. She's like, if you told me about soulmates 2 years ago, I would have been like, okay, I'm out of this call, Bye. Guys, if you have ever met someone, it can be a random person on the street, at a coffee shop, at school, at work. It can be just one interaction, but you just immediately feel this warm recognition. Your nervous system, your body, just like, it just feels safe. When you look in each other's eyes, there's usually like a more intense eye contact, because there's like almost like a twinkle in the eye, because there's something about the person that you're looking at. And when I say soulmate client, the truth is they're a part of you. They're a soulmate. They're part of this larger vibration that you are, the ideals that you stand for. For example, my soulmate clients, they're out here to live their best life. They're here to do the inner work so that they can shine their light into the world, to brighten the world, to bring in the type of world that we really want to be living in. And not just that, but to step into your calling. What did you come here to do? And so a soulmate to me, again, it's someone that before you incarnated here into this body, you decided, hey, at some point we're going to interact and we're going to work together. We're going to support each other in business. We're going to be just close confidants. It can just be like someone you meet in the train and you have this amazing conversation that just like lights you up. It's just like this. It's magic to me, man. It's like, it's not just that, when you talk about ascension, you talk about the quantum, right? The quantum is where everything exists. And when you deal with practitioners that talk about quantum technologies, we talk about codes in your aura. Okay. So your aura holds all that you are, all that you have been, all that you can be. It's all in there. And when you're with your soulmates, you activate each other in your aura. You activate codes. So, for example, code of courage, right? It's like all of a sudden you're with this person, you just have the courage to do the things you want to do, right? Or it can be joy. Like you're with this person and the dancing comes easily. The singing comes easily. So when I work with my soulmate clients, they're activating me just as much as I'm activating them. I just happen to play this role and they're playing their role. And together we're co-creating a more vibrant, a more empowered, a more purposeful existence together. So
I love that.
I hope that answers the question what a soulmate client is.
Absolutely does. And it's funny. Like, I really truly believe that we meet people in our lives for a specific purpose, as long as we're willing to open and receive the message, right? You got to be open. You got to be present. And my question for you is like, okay, we're getting a sense of who Diederik is now, but where did you first start? You talked about you worked in the corporate world. Like, where are you originally from? I think you're in Spain right now, right?
Yes.
In Spain, in the mountains, building a retreat, going from a corporate job in America. So tell us a little bit about that journey. How did you end up in Spain?
Well, I was in Costa Rica for 3.5 years prior to arriving here late July of 2023. Spent 3.5 years in Costa Rica prior to that with my fiance at the time. I say at the time because when I left, we consciously decoupled. We lovingly went our separate ways. We were still on the best of terms. We support each other. We want each other to thrive. And, sometimes you just know that there's a natural expiration date to things, and that's not personal. And we realized that. And when we separated, both of us thrived. And I know she's thriving right now. So I'm thrilled for her. But to backtrack a little bit, so I'm 37 at the moment, or right now. And so I always had this idea, okay, I'm going to do the bachelor's, I'm going to do the master's degree. I'm going to follow that path like my dad did. My dad worked in oil and gas. And so and he was a project manager in oil and gas. So we lived in places all over the world. We spent, so my chronology, just to give an example. So I'm Dutch from the Netherlands. My parents are both Dutch. I'm living in a very Dutch body for those that can see. I'm 6'3", which is a very Dutch thing. Apparently we're the tallest people in the world. I don't know why.
I don't know that either.
Yeah, and it's funny because when I do go to Holland, that's the only time when I actually have to like look up or hug up, because typically I'm like hugging down. So yeah, I went down the route of, with my dad, we moved every 3 years. I was born in Holland, spent 3 years there, 3 years in Thailand, 3 years in Holland or the Netherlands, 1 year in France, 2.5 years in Nigeria in Africa, half a year back in France, 3 years in Texas, in Houston. Went back to Paris for 3 years, then in Holland to study and do my bachelor's for 5 years. Went back to Houston, Texas on my own to do a master's for 4 years. Did the visa lottery, did not get it, but as all things happen for a reason. Went back to the Netherlands. I spent, let's see, how long did I spend there then? 2015 to 2019. Worked 1 more year in corporate, and I was just like, this isn't it for me. I just look around me and I see all these amazing, talented people that are not being given the space to be and thrive in their natural zone of genius. It never made sense to me that we have a role and then we like ram someone into it instead of having like, hey, here's Alex. These are Alex's strengths. These are his passions. These are the things that he wants to pursue. Let's create a role around him so that he can thrive, and so we can all thrive as a department, as a group, as a business, improve the bottom line, and do that across the board. But that wasn't happening. And I worked in supply chain. So I did, purchasing of materials for oil and gas, logistics, following up. Hey, is this thing coming on time? We need this thing. Then I became a data analyst. And for me, that was a way to use the data to populate the human story of what's actually going on. But because that never really worked out for me, I just decided, I remember one day, it was a Friday, I looked at my colleague. We were alone in this big office, and I'm just like, I'm going to quit. And I'd been talking about doing that for a while. This time she knew I meant it because she burst into tears. And then I went on so this is 2016. This is August of 2016. And I went on a coaching trajectory. So I went to a life coach. And during this 3-month process, one of the things we did was a human design session. So this was my introduction to human design. And I know we'll be talking more about human design later. But then on my 30th birthday, January 27th, 2017, a couple days before that, I couldn't sleep for 3 days. I just couldn't sleep. I couldn't eat. And I felt like something was happening that was unknown to me. It didn't feel bad, but it was like my body was preparing for something that I didn't understand. And then on my birthday, I had what I understand, as I'm still integrating it 7 years later, is a Kundalini awakening. So I just felt like all my chakras lined up. And to me, I have my life before that day and after that day. I started talking about light and dark. I started talking about duality. Just knowledge started coming to me, and my awareness just expanded. And this love just poured through. And part of me thought I was going a little crazy, but I was like, look, I can only control what's going on inside of me. I can't control what's happening to other people, but it seems like my interactions with other people are really like helping them unlock something. Like there's always like warm tears coming from the other person, breakthroughs. I know to ask the right question. So that set me on a more spiritual path. And when we talk about ascension, like, you know, that's one of the things too, that to me is like, this is, you know, just to go into that real quick, either everything is random or everything happens for a reason. That's how I see it. And when you talk about ascension, it's saying that everything happens for a reason, and it doesn't happen to you, it happens for you, right? And so it's having the courage to look at your life and see the things that are not the way you want them to be, and then taking the steps, mostly internal, changing your beliefs, being honest about what your beliefs are and why they're there, and what it is that you truly want, and then start embodying that. It takes courage because you're going to become a version of you that you haven't been before. And that's what ascension really is. It's ascending in these versions of you that already exist. It's just embodying them. So for me, I went down this journey. So, you know, it's been just over 7 years now. And it's been a journey, man. It's been a journey. Spending time in Costa Rica, you know, I did a lot of like plant medicine, but also a lot of community work. That's something that always I felt very strongly about, because when I say soulmate clients, I also mean the soul tribe. It's bringing people together around that bonfire that doesn't just exist in physical terms, but also like in the ether. It's like, because you're my soul brother, and you are, and I know you are. When you ascend, when you rise, I rise. When I rise, you rise. When we rise, our sisters and our brothers rise. We all rise together. And that's what I love. Again, we have to do that inner work on our own, but we never journey alone. Your tribe's got your back, always. So yeah, that's my story, man. Like I went into my last foray into the corporate world in those 7 years prior to going to Costa Rica. I was in recruitment, and I got the chance to sit with people one-on-one and just ask them, like, what are you passionate about? Like, what do you really love? And then listening. And then at the end of an hour or an hour and a half long conversation, it's like, okay, so I hear you say you want this, 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 and this. Is that correct? And like, yeah. You know, and based on questions like, when was the last time that you really felt like you were in a flow state at work? What were you doing? What was your role? What type of tasks were you dealing with? What kind of an environment were you in? What kind of people were you working with? Let's take that as a basis for a future career or calling that's just so much more in line with what you came here to do, that makes you happy. Because if you're spending half of your waking hours at a job that just doesn't feel like you're in the right place, then what are you doing? Honestly, what are you doing? Because, you know, like, guys, like, we take that home. We take that home to our friends, our family, our partners, our kids. You know, one of the things on the path, Alex, and I wonder what you think about this one, is this whole idea, like, I'm totally past that now, but it used to be like me taking care of myself first was considered selfish. And now I'm just like, no, I have to fill my own cup first so I can help fill other people's cups, right? And so that's what you got to do for yourself. Do it, when you do it for you, you do it for everyone you know. You do it for people you haven't even met yet, because again, if you're listening to this, you have a soulmate tribe out there, and when you rise, others rise. So with that, I also want to say thank you for doing the work and for just every day getting up and doing that. But yeah, I just wanted to ask you, brother, what do you think about this whole, like, this is like selfish to take care of yourself first, to fill your cup first? Like, how's your relationship been with that over the years?
Yeah, so my relationship now is extremely good with that, because now I take care of me first before anyone else. I like to do stuff. That's why I've, you know, probably if you've been watching my Instagram stories, I show my morning routine off every single morning. And the reason why, it's because it's to serve me. It fills my cup to do that stuff, right? To get myself in the flow state. And it's quite interesting, because I think we can also take a look at the other side where, people are saying that, it's pretty selfish for you to focus on you first before you focus on everyone else. But how selfish is it that you aren't being your highest self, your best self, by focusing on other people when you should be focusing on you? And I experience this a lot in as a fitness coach, coaching clients who want to work on their health, but they got kids, they got jobs, they got other responsibilities. But what happens if you wake up and you get super sick one day because you didn't work on your health for the last 10 years, right? What happens if, like you said, with, human design, you're working a job that you absolutely hate, and mental health right now is a crisis in North America, and you have a mental breakdown or a panic attack at work. Everything gets added up at the end of the day. And by focusing on you and giving yourself the opportunity to like heal, to go through the motion, what we call do the work, trying to find alignment to who you are as an individual and as a person, you're going to become someone who's going to create space for the people that you care about so they can thrive. But you can't create space unless you create space for yourself.
That's beautiful, brother. I mean, in the end, it's what they say, right? So as within, so without, as above, so below. In other words, what's going on inside of you, inside your mind, inside your heart, inside your body, that's what paints and creates your outside world.
Mm-hmm.
In other words, it's like, so I listened to this, to Bashar. I don't know anybody who listens to that, but it's basically saying like, if you are frowning and you're looking in the mirror, do you try and like put your fingers on the mirror and try to like turn the frown into a smile? Or do you change you and you change your frown to a smile, right? So it's going inside. And it's what you say, like, look, human design, to a segue in there, human design to me is the mechanics of flow, but it's also the mechanics of the aura, or your non-verbal presence, as they say. In other words, when you step into a room, you are communicating without speaking words. Your presence communicates. It communicates where you're at, your vibration, your frustrations, your joy, your fears, your doubts, your traumas. And, especially, for example, kids are so sensitive to this. So again, when we're talking about like doing, focusing on yourself first, it has an impact on everyone around you, like you say, to helping other people thrive by you thriving. But man, like what we pick up from our parents is massive. We don't even know. Like, we don't even know what we pick up half the time. And that stuff, especially the first 7 years of life, is huge. So for any parents out there, if you want the best for your kids, then you need the best for yourself first. It's like the whole, plane and oxygen mask thing. Like, put it on for yourself first so you can really be there for others. And so, yeah, back to the human design. It's like, it's how you are designed to operate. It's who you're meant to be. And, this mental health crisis is also because we all are living in this like hustle culture, right? Like do. And like, there's only one model or way of doing things. And I'm here to tell you guys, that's bullshit. I call bullshit big time. It's not the way that works. You create your reality through your thoughts and your feelings and your beliefs and your actions. That's it. When you decide that you want better, you will receive better, you will get better, you will create better. Whether that's in your finances, your health, your relationships, or your career, it's how it works. You cannot rely on anything external for that. You can rely on for support, yes. But it's a difference between like going to the doctor and saying like, doctor, please heal me. Or, hey, doctor, I know I can heal myself, but I need your help. Like, help me. Right? Like, help me understand what's going on so I can be there, so we can co-create this healing interaction. It's a very different way of looking at things, because in the end, we can't escape the work. It's going to catch up to us at some point. So might as well do now, because like you said, Alex, like eventually illness is going to pop up. Disabilities, burnouts. Like in Europe, burnouts are huge. I know they're not as accepted yet in the United States, and I don't know what the situation is in Canada, but again, from a human design standpoint, human design tells you what your role is meant to be.
Mhm.
Like, for example, there are 4 main types in human design, and this is how
Mhm.
your energy is meant to work. You and I are different. You
Mhm.
are meant to spend your energy all day doing what you love and loving what you do, and just go boom, 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 boom.
Mhm.
And you can do it all day long. And I know you are.
Oh, it is crazy because I was talking to one of my coaches, Carson. I mean, Diederik has done some work with no, he doesn't. I don't think he's done work with Carson. I think it was Manjinder,
We've
and
interacted.
interacted a bit, right? And he's the same human design as you, the projector. And like for me, like yeah, I feel like this desire to go all day. I have to grind, and well, we'll call it grind for this one. I have to do it, otherwise I can't relax my body. It's interesting.
It's interesting because for me, it's the other way around. If I
Mhm.
grind, my body is completely like out of whack. It's just like, oh my God, like what is going on? And like, for example, you can work 8 hours a day doing what you love. For me, it's like 4 hours, and I'm like, okay, that's it. Now I get a lot done in those 4 hours. But my role is very different as a projector. I'm here to lead and guide the process. I'm here
Mhm.
to be. You are here to do what you love.
Mhm.
And as projectors, we're here to guide you and help you to find what it is that you love so you can put your energy into that. And in this case, with human design, to know what, for example, in career and business, what is your job and what isn't your job.
Mhm.
So you're not doing stuff that you don't love. And
Mhm.
just for everybody out there, we're going to throw out some terms, but like the generator and the projector are energetic types. It's how your energy is meant to be used in natural ways for your abilities to be expressed, for your gifts, your strengths, and your talents to be expressed in the most natural way. And so with that, it's really about setting yourself up for success. And
Mhm.
70% of people, or 66%, let's just say 7 out of 10 people are generators in the world, meaning you guys have energy to do what you love and love what you do. But oftentimes you guys will say yes when really your body, which is your main guide, is telling you hell no. Like, hey, can you stay late? It's like, man, no, I don't want to stay late at the job to do this. Like right now, I'm just getting a no. Like for you guys, it's all about doing what you love. And when you do what you love, magical things happen. And I know you can attest to this, Alex. When you started delegating the stuff that wasn't exciting you or igniting you or giving you energy in your body, because it's a very body conscious type of
Mhm.
system, you like everything changed for you,
A
right?
100%, because I felt like, you know, with working with you and understanding my own design, uh, I was constantly burnt out because I was doing stuff that I didn't like. I hated it, right? And I think that's such an important thing that people need to understand is like, your energetic output is so important. It's a thing, right? When you put it to different places that you absorb, stress management, it's how the human body is designed. So when you talk about that, you talked about the beginning, finding your fuck yes. Like this is it. This is what I want to do. How does someone, if they're listening to this right now, how does someone find that for them, where they can find that fuck yes for what their purpose is to do on a day-to-day basis?
That's a very good question. And so now I would say you have the answers within you. Sometimes it just takes someone else to ask you the right questions for you to find those answers. So one is something that I've really been living by is follow your highest excitement to the best of your abilities without expectations to the outcome. And so, especially as the generator, like you wake up like, okay, you got energy. What do you want to do? Okay, you want to go for a walk? Go for a walk. Oh, you want to play some guitar? Play the guitar. Oh, you want to do some work on a project you're working on? Go do that. Now that's the simple way of doing it.
Mhm.
What I do is I look at your human design, this printout, and this. So human design is a system that is a composite of multiple systems, including the
Mhm.
chakra system, the I Ching, which is all about the different themes of life. That's it's an ancient Chinese philosophy. It's called the Book of Changes. So it's the chakra system, the I Ching, astrology, and Kabbalah. All of that combined. And so what it does, this is how I see it. Okay. Now I'm professionally trained from a career and business application standpoint of the human design system, but it's a living system to me. It's still evolving. But the way I see it is that you chose to come here. You chose to come here with a particular purpose in mind and themes you want to explore. And these themes, they highlight your greatest challenges, but within those challenges are also your greatest gifts, your unconditional love for self, your joy, and again, your purpose. And it tells you how you are meant to live that purpose, to live on purpose. And it's different for everyone. You know, we talked a little bit about being a generator or being a projector. That's the first step. This system it's called the science of differentiation. There are so many variables in the system. There is no identical person that will, like, you are unique. There is no one like you, Alex, that will ever exist, past, present, future. You are unique. So what makes you unique? What are these themes that you have, right? And what are your business strengths? What environment do you thrive in? So what I talk about is the zone of genius. So I help my clients find their zone of genius. Zone of genius to me, it's two things. One is, what is your genius? Your gifts, your talents, your passions. And what environment, your zone, do you need to have or do you want to be in so that you can fully leverage your genius and be in your zone of genius and be in that flow state that you mentioned before? Because it is the mechanics of flow. And to go back to it, so you incarnated here, you chose your design. You chose your design on purpose because it gives you the the best odds of achieving your purpose and being who you wanted to be here in this life. So that's what I do with my clients. I map this out. We look at it together. I hold the space and I say, what resonates with you? Right? It's not meant to be dogmatic. It's meant to have conversations and have things put into words that you've never heard put into words before, but you're like, fuck, that's me. That's my life. How do I, stuff like, for example, how am I meant to use my energy? How am I meant to interact with other people? How do I make decisions? Now, human design has very specific, mechanical, step-by-step ways of making decisions. There's 7 different decision-making strategies, and you have one. How does your body process information? How are you meant to eat? What is the right environment for you? What type of cognition do you have? How is your brain meant to work? How does your energy work? Again, what are your strengths, your talents? How do you operate as a solopreneur, in partnership, small group, large group? And so much more is highlighted in your human design chart or in your human design. And so that's how I do it. It's like, look here, this is what this says. Now let me hear what you think. And through that we open up doors that previously were not just close to my clients, they just didn't even see them. And it's 2 things. 1, it validates their lived experience, and 2, it gives them permission to be themselves and to drop the weight of trying to be someone they're not. And that's freedom. That brings joy. And to me, I'm honored to be holding the space for someone when they get to that point, when they realize that. Because,
I love
man,
that.
it's tough out there, man.
It is, man. The human life is tough, right?
The human experience, yeah.
The human experience is really tough. But that's the best part about it, you know. I feel like in your greatest battles, that's where you, again, if you are open to it, because I definitely think a lot of people block themselves off towards it. If you're open to it, there's a lot of joy and lessons that come out of that as well. If you're willing to receive it. Again, it's all perspective at the end of the day.
It's all perspective, and like you said, at the end of the day, but it's also just lived day by day, right? And what I love about the human design system, and I used to work with like Myers-Briggs. Anybody that's familiar with the MBTI, the 16 personality types, I used to love that, or the DISC. A lot of people in corporate world have done that. What I love about the human design system is that it gives you a practical manual for
Mm-hmm.
living, an operating manual. How are you meant to operate day by day, like moment to moment, even how you make decisions, how do you move around, how you're meant to interact with people, and how do you listen to your body? What's your body trying to tell you? Now, as projectors, we need a lot of rest. And in fact, we're meant to be the leaders of the future because we are designed, our aura is designed to absorb the other person and also to penetrate their aura so we can feel where it is that their energy wants to go. Where does their passion want to go? What is their direction in life? And our superpower is to ask the right questions. And then we feel that energy move around and the other person feels it. And that's what we're here to do. And then our signature emotion is this deep sense of success because we had a successful interaction. For the generators, it's that deep satisfaction that you're doing what you love, right? And so, yeah, it's and then when I say living on purpose, it just means like, you wake up. What are your first thoughts? Do you grab your phone? Like, how do you parent yourself? Like, what are the first thoughts? What kicks in? And what I was talking to a client the other day, and like sometimes what I find, and I wonder if you can relate to this, it's like sometimes the morning can be a little heavier because we've been in our subconscious, we've been asleep, and we wake up and we're working on our beliefs, but there might still be some programming there. So we wake up a little heavy.
Yeah.
And then we kind of have to like talk to ourselves and get ourselves going. And then towards like as the day progresses, we get more and more into the flow. And it gets better over time. But I'm just wondering, that's to me living on purpose is to work with that very consciously, because the truth is you are always creating your reality every single moment of every single day through your thoughts, your actions, your emotions, your beliefs. And whether you want to be at the wheel or at the helm of the ship of life, it's going to move. It's going to go. And so in the end, no one can do it for you. And yeah, you have to take full accountability. But this is what I say to my clients. I'm like, listen, you create your reality. And if you take 100% accountability for the reality you've created, then you're 100% free to create the reality that you want. That's it.
I love that.
So yeah, just wondering what your take on this is, and living on purpose and like moving throughout the day in a purposeful way. Like, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so to me, because that's a really, really good question, because I really, really agree about like living in, your flow state. And like you used a good term earlier, your zone of genius. I got that from you and I use it every day. You gotta live in your zone of genius. I loved it. And I'm a big believer in that too. And I think you need to create a situation for yourself to give yourself the opportunity to be in your zone of genius. And notice like, okay, where does that happen? I always believe like what you said, it's in the morning, right? Yeah, how your morning starts is really going to dictate your day, right? And some people wake up grumpy, some people wake up happy. I'm one of the grumpy ones. I'm very grumpy in the morning. I'm like not a good person to be around for that first like 10 to 30 minutes. Hence why I do my morning routine, so I can get happy. Got to retrain my state, got to retrain the way I view things. And I think when you need to get into your flow state, into your purpose state, it really comes down to asking yourself, well, what do you want? Like, how do you want to live? Right? Like, where do you feel like? And so a question that I struggle for a long time is like, what's my purpose in this lifetime? Like, why am I here? What am I meant to work this job? Am I meant to be a fitness coach for the rest of my life? Like social media influencer as I am now? And the answer I came up with is there is no answer. There absolutely isn't. And the answer is going to come to you at the perfect time. But in order for that answer to come to you, you got to do that. You got to do the work. So it becomes available to you. So you're ready. So you're ready for it when it comes to you.
100%. It's like you said, like you have to be asking the question first to be able to even get to the to receive the answer when it comes to you. And in the end, like people might be listening, like really not having lived their passion, And like I said, a system like human design can help. Gene keys, the genetic keys, is another system that I use that is complementary to human design. Again, all you need is your time, date, and place of birth, and that shows you what the imprint is. Like, basically, as I said, you chose to incarnate here. It's like, what is the energy that you took with you that you imprinted into you? This is the imprint. I see it as like, it's like the Power Rangers, the big robot, and they're inside the robot.
I
It's
do,
like,
yeah.
what are
Yeah.
the characteristics of this suit, and what are the characteristics of the way that your mind operates, and the voice that you want to use? Like, for example, I'm designed to study systems and then use that to help someone in a time of crisis when they see me as someone that can help them in a time of crisis. And then I got to use my authority, which is an intuitive authority. That's my human design authority, splenic, to know in the moment, like, okay, this is a match or not. And then I'm here to, if it's a match, then again, we'll both receive exactly what it is that we need for our highest good, and the highest good of all involved from that interaction. But to go back to all of it, in the end, I'm gonna take a little turn here, if you don't mind.
Yeah, do it.
It's unconditional love. Like, one of the things that's come to me, like, call it a download or just this realization, like, we incarnate until we have returned in a conscious way back to where we came from, which is where we're at, like, right? The place you were before you were born, where you are now, and where you go after you leave your body is the same place. So that's one realization to have. Two is this unconditional love. And basically it's saying, like, you are here to learn the lesson of unconditional love, and you will keep coming back until you learn the lesson. So let it be this lifetime. Let it be this lifetime. It can be this one. And when you live the unconditional love and you forgive yourself, like, I've seen it in real time, the changes in the people around me because of my internal change. Being more loving and forgiving of myself, fully forgiving, right? I don't know if any of you are familiar with the Course in Miracles. That's called the Course in Miracles. It's been really powerful for me. And basically it's reconnecting with God. Even using the word God for me is new, because I'm not but this is the God that's unconditional love. Like, there's even like nothing to forgive you for. Like, you don't need to be forgiven because there's nothing to forgive. Like, you are loved always. The only reason we're not feeling is because we have all of these conditioned thoughts that tell us that we're not good enough, that we're not worthy, that we need to do more. And funny enough, that actually then gets in the way. Instead of us just being like, again, let me follow my highest excitement to the best of my ability without expectations to the outcome, and just love myself through that process day by day, live on purpose. That's why I mean by live on purpose. How can you love yourself and your neighbor today, your brothers and sisters, your kids? And by brothers and sisters, I mean your human brothers and sisters, right? And so, but that's what ascension truly is. Like, you mentioned that ascension. Yes, it's playing your role. And, when we talk about ascension, it's this notion that, hey, have you noticed that the world's a little crazy out there right now? That's because we're ascending. Ascending means that we're working on the things individually and collectively that aren't working for us anymore. They're coming to the surface. They're coming to the surface for us to see it so we can transmute it into love. So it's like, for example, I don't want to get too political, but let's say Israel-Palestine.
Yeah.
It doesn't, from this perspective of unconditional love, everyone is suffering. There's no, perpetrator, victim, and we can discuss that, but like, take it to the unconditional love level. People are suffering. People are dying. People are worried for their lives. It's like, in the end, can we just like all look at each other and be like, we're all suffering. Can we just like stop doing this right now? Like, and that's the thing too. Like, I've actually been contemplating grief a lot, like just grieving in your own life. It's heavy, but in a way it's so beautiful, because grief is the other side of love. And we connect in our grief. We connect with others in our grief. Like, I feel other people's pain so deeply, and I'll burst into tears sometimes, or I'll try to hold it in just a little bit, because I want to be a channel, not a vessel, but it's a beautiful thing. So like, as I said, going into this unconditional love tangent, that's really why you're here.
So
That's
in
it.
your opinion, because I agree, the state of the world that is happening, right?
Yeah.
Everywhere. So
Ev-
for people who are going through the process, through their own traumatic events, what's the number one tip that you could give to them so they can find unconditional love within themselves?
That's a really good question.
Mm.
I think it's, one of the things I felt when I was going through my awakening was like honesty.
Mm.
Being honest with yourself about what happened or what you're feeling. And you can take it to the next step by honestly and compassionately communicate it to someone else, not because you need them to respond in a certain way, but because you need to express what it is you need to express. Again, everything is just a reflection of you, so it shouldn't matter what other people have to say.
Mm.
And then when you're speaking, are you literally, like, as you're speaking, are you in your head or are you literally in your heart? Like, if you're ever having a conversation like that, like, just notice, am I in my mind? And just like bring it down to your heart and speak from there. Like, physically feel it from there. But honesty is my answer, man. Just be honest. It, like, cry too. Like, cry. Just
Mm.
cry. Like, our hearts oftentimes are encased in a I call it a veil of tears. Like, it's just like stuck there. And as you're crying, you release the energy. You open your heart. And sometimes you're crying for yourself. Other times you're crying for what happened to others. And sometimes it's just humanity. Like, I've been shedding tears. I call them warm tears almost daily. And sometimes I can figure out why. Other times I'm just crying. And I've been talking to a lot of people in the tribe, and a lot of people are experiencing the same thing. If you look on Instagram, at least in my feeds, that's what people are saying. You see that people show themselves, vulnerably, because that's what it really is. If you can't be honest with yourself, how are you going to be honest with other people? How are you going to be honest with your partner,
Mm.
your family, your friends? How are you going to speak your truth if you can't be truthful with yourself? And then I'll say this last thing on this one. Well, I mean, there's so much more to say, but like, someone very close to me said recently, if I'm not being truthful, I'm not being loving. If I'm not being loving, I'm not being truthful, which is the same thing as honesty. That's it, right? Truthful, honest. So be honest is the answer. Be honest.
It's a
Feel
great
it.
answer. I like that.
Yeah.
Because I think
That's
like a lot of people need that message, right? On like, just being, you said two things here: being responsible, taking responsibility for your life, and then part of that's being honest with what's going on in your life too. Being honest with who you are, being honest with how your relationships are, being honest with, who you're being. And I think that the best news about this is that despite what's going on in the world, despite what's going on in your life, you have that opportunity to get into your ascension to your high self if you allow it, if you want it, right? It's a choice, right? It's a choice at the end of the day, and it's a beautiful choice if you want it.
well said, brother. It is. It really is. Like I said, it's the journey of unconditional love and the journey of honesty and accountability too. You have, like, there's word responsibility and accountability. Accountability has a different vibration to it, but
Yeah.
it's the same thing, right? And so, for example, when I work with my clients, I say, listen, if you step into this container of us working together, I recognize and respect and acknowledge your sovereignty, meaning you are the creator of your reality. And I have 4 values that I live by and that it's like, it's on top of the gateway to work with me is be radically and compassionately honest with yourself, radically and compassionately honest with what's going on in your life. Take full accountability of everything that is happening in your life and know that you can change it because you're taking full accountability. If you take 100% accountability, you're 100% free. Third is courage. There's no shortcut for courage. There just isn't. If you want to get started with your own business, you're going to have to put yourself out there, and there's no shortcut for that. And then the fourth one is unconditional love. It's be patient and graceful with yourself as you go through it. No, and one last thing with all of this, guys. The transformations around unconditional love can happen in a day. It's not a linear journey. Like it can literally happen in a weekend. You can shift your entire existence in a weekend. And it doesn't matter how old you are. If you make the decision that you live in unconditional love the last day of your life, you've achieved your goal. Like time is irrelevant in this. Like it doesn't even exist in this. It's just where are you at in your heart?
Beautifully well said, man. Beautiful.
Yeah.
So, where can people find you?
Where can people find me?
Yeah, where can people follow you?
Follow
I call Diederik Big D, so where can they find Big D?
Big D. You can find me at codedtothrive.com, because I believe we're all coded to thrive. As I said before, we designed our life. So Coded to Thrive on Instagram, codedtothrive.com. Just so people know, if you're visiting the website, I'm actively working on it, and the website will be fully so you can access all of the programs by the next few days. So if right now you're looking, you can at least book a free discovery call with me, so we can talk about anything that you need, to see what your needs are and see how we can work together. And yeah, codedtothrive.com.
Love it. Well, for everyone listening to this, I highly recommend Diederik. There's not a lot of people I would recommend in the coaching space. And even just hearing his conversation right now has been very transformative for me and going through my own healing. So that's it for all the time that we have right now. But I definitely want to bring you back on, because I think that we have a lot more to unpack. I felt like we barely even touched the surface level of anything before we really got into it.
Yeah, so, absolutely, brother. So, yeah.
All right. So I'm ending the live stream here. Thank you guys for popping on. Thank you guys for watching this episode. If you guys got value on this, shoot me and Diederik a message. We would love to know what your takeaways are from this. And I'm going to bring my soul brother back on here in the near future. Take care, everyone.
Take care, brothers and sisters. Ciao.